Quinn laughed again, loud and clear. At the same time, outside the hotel's suite door, Beatrice leaned against the door and cried. Her mascara dripped down her face in black lines. Quinn's laughter echoed through the doorway and down the hall. Beatrice's fake tears immediately dried up, and she wiped at the smeared makeup under her eyes. "I cannot believe you!" Beatrice roared as she beat on the door. "Sure moved on quickly, didn't you?" The only answer was more laughing. Beatrice banged on the door even harder. Her knuckles turned red in the process. She yelled to be heard above the laughter and her own banging. "Who is that? Who is in there with you right now, Fred? Who is she?" Beatrice screamed at the top of her lungs. Now, doors along the hallway started to open. Other guests in the hotel leaned out of their rooms at the sound of Beatrice's screams. "I'm not leaving, Fred. Not until I see the awful woman who is in there with you," Beatrice yelled. She flung her coat off and stomped her high heels into the fancy hotel carpet. Behind her, in Quinn's room, Jake Smith, pretending to be his brother Denny Murphy, opened his hotel room door and peeked out to see what the screaming was about. But when Jake spotted his mean mother Beatrice, he slammed the door shut and bolted it closed. Luckily, Beatrice didn't notice Jake behind her. She screamed and raised her fist to hit the door again, when a hand grabbed her arm. The hotel manager and 2 security guards had decided to intervene. "Ma'am," began the manager, "I've had calls from several guests about the disturbance you're causing here. I'm going to need you to come along with us now. Whatever issues you have with our guests will need to be settled outside of Dragon World. This is a place for family fun." "Are you out of your mind?" Beatrice snapped at the man. He tried to pull her away from the door, but Beatrice collapsed onto the floor in a heap of designer clothes. "Do you want the paparazzi waiting for you outside? This breakdown will be front-page news if you don't get it together," Fred called through the door. "I don't care. You're cheating on me. I have to see who she is," Beatrice cried. "Let's go, ma'am," said the manager gently as the security guards pulled Beatrice toward the hotel elevator. She wailed the entire walk to the elevator. Meanwhile, Denny Murphy, stuck pretending to be Jake Smith, had been sitting in the hotel lobby drinking soda after soda from the kitchen, while the staff thought his father was on a business call. He thought an hour was enough time for Quinn and Fred to fall in love and be married by morning. He wanted them to get married at the Dragon Castle at the theme park, where the Dragon's Breath coaster looped around behind and breathed fire above the courtyard. Denny and Jake could be wizards, and their sister Sammy could be their knight of honor. It's going to be perfect, Denny thought when he pushed the button for the penthouse floor. Then the elevator doors opened and Denny saw an important-looking man getting off the elevator, followed by 2 security guards who were escorting a bedraggled, crying woman from the premises. Denny watched as this dramatic circus passed him by and used the attention generated by the situation to sneak back onto the elevator. The boy wondered whether he would be able to sneak back upstairs as easily as he had snuck to the lobby. It was really something, he realized, how nobody had really questioned a little boy being unattended for so long. People just passed by, unaware, or saw him and gave it no thought. Someone could actually kidnap me if they wanted to, thought Denny, as a chill made its way down his small spine. This thought made him glad that he was going back upstairs. Back in the room, Quinn and Fred waited by the door to see if Bernice was really gone. Quinn's face felt hot and her stomach woozy from all the laughter with Fred, even if it had just been part of a plan. She looked up into Fred's face, and she thought he was blushing too. "Convincing enough?" Quinn asked. "Could have been better," Fred teased. "Oh, shut up." Quinn shoved him playfully. They smiled at each other for a moment, but then reality crashed in around them. Jake was gone, and they still didn't know where he was. Their smile disappeared from their faces. "We need to find your son." Fred nodded and tugged on a jacket and shoes. "We should check in with the front desk and search the hotel first. He cannot have gotten far." Quinn turned to the hotel door, but when she pulled on the handle, the door didn't open. She pulled again, but the door was stuck. "Oh no," Quinn thought. She yanked the handle up and down, but the door wouldn't budge. Fred walked up behind as she was tugging on the handle. "Shoot. Fred, the door!" Quinn spun around to Fred, and when she did, her elbow hit him hard in the chest. Fred groaned and took a step back. He bent over and gasped for air. "Oh my God, are you okay?" Quinn bent over him. Fred tried to wave her off, but then he collapsed to the floor. "Fred?" Quinn dropped down to her knees and opened up her medical bag. "Fred, where does it hurt?" Fred motioned toward his chest, and Quinn put on her stethoscope to listen to his heart. When she pressed down on one side of his chest, he twisted away from her in pain. She turned away from him to open her medical bag. "Get out!" Fred yelled at her. "Get away!" "I'm a doctor, Fred, and you're being ridiculous." Quinn placed a hand on Fred's shoulder, and he tried to shake it off. But she persisted. Her oath demanded as much. "I'm a doctor. Let me help you," Quinn insisted. Fred shook his head again, but then his body started to convulse. He was having a seizure. "Fred! Fred, can you hear me?" Quinn yelled.
Hi, Quinn here, and if you're wondering what happens next, click on the link in the description to listen to the full audio series. You can also watch the next episode here in the playlist.